Hey everybody, welcome back. We are in the last minute and a half here of the Fallout 76 beta. Not sure if you guys are kind of interested in what's been going on here. I'm curious to get your thoughts about the game. What was your if you played the beta? What did you think about it? What were your what kinds of things did you think were really good? What kind of things did you wish that you had wish they had done differently? Just kind of what kinds of thinking do you have around it? I'm kind of curious. Let's see, healing cell. That's pretty good. Sure, why not? All right. So what kinds of things did you get out of it? But let's sort of let's talk about we'll talk about the game, and let's discuss the your thoughts, my thoughts, and I'm just curious to see what happens when this shuts down for maintenance. Here, let's find out. But cheers, welcome. I've got Vault Tech Chew here, Vault Boy Chew, 8, 7, 6. Oh, actually, it went a little bit longer. It actually went over the last hour or so. That's good. All right. Disconnected from server. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Let's see here real quick. Bring this guy up. Oh, that is not. Oh my lord. Stop. All right. But yeah, like I said, I kind of want to feel what you guys think about this. How did this game play for you? What kinds of things did you think were interesting about it? Let me bring this guy back up here. There we go. Bring him down a smidge. Whoops. Bring it down a smidge. There we go. Awesome. Let's turn that guy. Yep, I got kicked, Foxdrake, which I think was sort of expected. So, turn this down now. Make sure this is working properly. Hold on here. All right, we're looking good. All right, so yeah, I mean, I certainly had a lot of fun playing. I wish I'd had more time to play, and wish I'd been able to do a little bit more with the game. I did get to level 5, so I'm curious to kind of think what did you guys think about the game? How far did you get? Certainly wasn't running into any problems with the player versus player stuff. Although the guy that I was playing with definitely ran into some problems. He actually got killed right in front of my eyes, which was kind of sad. There's not a whole lot I could do about that. Because I couldn't attack anybody because I was only level 4. But I just hit level 5 at the end. We built a camp. One of the burning questions I had was answered, which is that when you have a camp and you're in a team, other people can build stuff in your camp. I don't know yet what happens if I collapse the camp and go somewhere else. I don't know if that stuff is ours, and or if it's like I said, if I'm not teamed up with that player again, if what happens with our stuff, that's still a little bit unclear to me. I'm curious to see what happens with that. And yeah, Voxdrake, that's kind of funny. I'm actually, give me a second here. I'm going to bring up the chat here. Browser. Add chat. No, here we go. Add that chat. There we go. All right. Coolio. All right. Put that guy. Let's put that guy up here. There we go. So you can kind of see what the heck is going on. All right. Awesome. And let me see over here. What can I do? I need to put a little something under that because that's kind of pale. But Let's see, maybe I can put something underneath that. Nah, it'll work all right. It'll be fine. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, but I did build a little space, just a 4x4, a wooden foundation. Put some walls up. Put roof on it. Bed in there. The other guy I was playing with actually put some other stuff in there, and he put a camping stove and a weapons bench and a generator. I put my stash box in there. I noticed that other people were able to come in to the space. I can't lock the door yet. I don't know if the walls will keep people out sufficiently, but I'm pretty sure they couldn't get into my stash box, so I think we're okay from that perspective. But then they can still use the stuff that's in your camp, even if they're not part of your camp. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, I got to level 5 playing around. I'm doing quite a few of the quests in Flatwoods. My first trip, though, right out was way the other direction. I went quite a distance away from the town. It was quite entertaining. So ran into Anchor Farm, which was an interesting thing. I found the plane from the preview that you're watching in the background here. So actually, if you head to the northwest from the vault, you'll find the plane. You can't do anything with the plane, but at least you can find it, right? So, but yeah, it was kind of cool. So yeah, right there, that space, Anchor Farm, is northwest of where the of the vault. So if you just kind of head that direction instead of going toward Flatwoods and the Overseer, you just head the opposite direction, you'll find some really good stuff. The blueprint for locks, yes. I did see some stuff. I've actually found quite a few plans. I didn't really have a chance to do much with them. I did get a plan for metal bed, so I've got a bed that's actually off the floor. Yay. And got a couple other things going on, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was, like I said, building the stuff worked out very well. I was very surprised. And again, the fact that my teammate could build in my camp space was kind of cool. But like I said, I'm suspecting that means that stuff will go when I pack up my camp. So like I said, I really want to kind of learn a little bit more about that and find out what the real deal there is. But it looked, like I said, it was really kind of nice that we were able to collaborate and do stuff together in that space. I built the box, he built some more stuff, but then he also built more stuff in my camp area, my camp radius. But then he also built stuff in the room that I built, sort of as my bedroom. So it was kind of interesting to see all that. So yeah, we need to figure out when the next beta is. I'm kind of hopeful that we're going to find that out here in the not too distant future. But I'm kind of curious to see what they say. It looks like there's going to be yes, Star Wolfman Fallout actually is offline now. The beta was only for 4 hours. It actually went until about 10 after the hour, so they gave us a little bit more time, and then they gave us some more opportunities to do some stuff there. So, and hey, thank you so much for that follow, Ninja Steel. That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, I think overall we are seeing some good stuff. Like I said, I mean, I really enjoyed the gameplay. It felt more crowded tonight than it felt during the stress test. But I think part of that was because the players were all still in that first space. They were still trying to get the attributes. They were still trying to get the quests sorted out, all that kind of stuff. So I think as a result of that, we did see some people, all in that same spot. I did find there's 2 people who became wanted murderers on my game for killing other people. That they were kind of, I think part of it was just to see what would happen if they did it. The problem was that at the time I was only level 4, so I couldn't do anything about it. Unfortunately, they killed my teammate, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't revive them because they were right there, and there's nothing I could do about it. So Um, and you got a whole bunch of stuff from the event. That is really cool, Vox Drake. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of going on. They do have those community events, which I think is really interesting. There's multiple events that they have all around the map. I did find that other ways that you can collect wood, especially as a resource, which was really nice for me, because wood was definitely the thing that I had the least of when I was playing the stress test. But I found other ways you can do stuff. I found some copper that I was actually able to mine, so I've actually mined copper from the stones. That was kind of cool. Hey, Direwolf Pain. Hey, Ninja Steel. Thanks so much for coming along on our journey. What did you guys? If you guys played, what did you guys think about it? What were your thoughts? How much like Fallout 4 or like something else did you find that this game was? Did you think that it was like any other game that's out there? Are there corollaries or analogs for 76? What's the best Fallout? I've only played 3 and 4 and now 76. I think 4 is my favorite, but just because I'm most familiar with it. Not that I think it's the best one. I've heard 3 is really cool, but I don't know much about it. And yeah, Dire Wolfbane, the beta stopped, so they're only running the beta for certain windows, and it ended about 15 minutes ago. So they're only doing it for certain 4 to 8 hour windows at a time, and tonight was the first one, and there's no information yet on when the next one is going to be. They're going to be posting it up on the Fallout on the Fallout Twitter feed. So tonight you can preload. Amazing start. Stay tuned for beta hours. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. In Fallout 76, if you take a picture in photo mode, the game uses your screenshot as a loading screen. That is pretty cool. So get out there if you're playing 76, the next beta. Definitely take some screenshots. That's pretty cool. I did not know that I was able to do that. Played about 2.5 hours. Look how beautiful Appalachia is. That's really cool. Yep. So yeah, and what I found was kind of funny was that there were some things like I found some armor actually at Anchor Ranch, Anchor Farm, and it was level 10. I couldn't use it yet because it was metal armor. So I was like, oh, come on. So I'm halfway to being able to use that armor that I found. That's kind of funny. So, but yeah, there's some really great stuff here. I'm actually kind of looking through the Fallout Twitter. I recommend it. The Twitter feed for Fallout is pretty good right now. But right now it's looking like, yeah, amazing start. Stay tuned for the next beta hours. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, it's looking pretty cool. But like I said, if you played it, what did you think? What were your thoughts? Was it like Fallout 4? Was it like something else? Was it like Rust, or was it like World of Warcraft, or are there other games that it reminded you of, or was it more like the single player stuff? From my perspective, the one thing that I would say is that it definitely is less responsive than the console version. So if you're playing Fallout 4, it's much more responsive than 76. You've got to be a little more patient. You're gonna have to click, when you're selecting stuff, you've got to kind of click, then click, then click, as opposed to click, 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 click. You can't just sort of, gather everything quickly. It takes some time. So there are definitely some, what's sort of looking for here, some delays in that. A lot of it, of course, is because it has to go out to the server and actually do that, but it definitely had some delays in it that made it, they were a little jarring. I did have some glitches. I had some times where the game just froze on me. But those are few and far between. I was mostly around Flatwoods, which is that main area, and then I went up into, like I said, I started off and I kind of tromped off to the northwest and went to Anchor Farm, and so that was kind of an interesting little adventure, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. But the, like I said, the whole thing from my perspective was really pretty good from there. No glitches, doing main story, side events, got over 30 food recipes. Nice. That's really good. And 10 building blueprints and a sniper 108 DPS. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's looking pretty good. Um, yeah, I was able to make some basic weapons. I made a pipe pistol and a bolt action pistol. Able to craft some basic armor. I killed a Brahmin for some meat and some hide. I found a rad stag and got the leather from that. So I was able to craft some armor, which was good. And overall, it ended up being pretty good. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. So. I'm too old to be doing this. Well, okay, I guess you could think that, Ray, but I've been doing this for a while, and it's I'm definitely not sort of the typical streamer. Definitely not sort of normal in that respect, but definitely I've been doing this for a while. So what is this horrible game? It's Fallout 76. And actually, it's not terribly horrible. I've actually really been enjoying it. It's a very, like I said, it's a very different style. There's definitely, with the other players involved, it ends up being a little bit interesting for having those other people interacting with you and interacting with the environment around you. But overall, I would say that it was pretty good, and it still felt, in a lot of cases, like the regular, like a Fallout 4 game with other people in it instead. So yeah, I'm with you, Vox. I'm with you. Some people's chilling, you know. So but yeah, it was like I said, like I said, I really enjoyed the gameplay, and I was very surprised at the camping stuff. Like I said, the ability to build a camp, have people actually be able to do some stuff, and work out for the being able to build together. I thought that was a really interesting dynamic that they introduced. To that game mechanic was unexpected, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions about how that's going to actually play out when we get into those things. I'm really curious to kind of see what happens. I'm looking forward to the next beta period and seeing what happens with that. Hopefully, we're going to end up with some clarity around how the camp system is going to work and all that stuff. So if you have any questions about the game in particular, about other thing, about what was going on, or where did you explore that was interesting, I'd be curious to kind of see if you guys went out really anywhere outside of Flatwoods, which of course is where the main quest takes place, and you sort of end up kind of going down there just because of how that stuff works and how those main quests are set up. The good thing is that you do end up being able to get a lot of stuff from those main quests to begin with, and then you can sort of branch out. I think as we get further into the beta, we're going to see people really going astray and afield from the vault, which will be great. I think it's going to be a lot less crowded, to feel a lot less crowded around the vault after this. So I think it's like I said, if you head up to the northwest from Vault 76, you'll actually be able to find Anchor Farm, which is where that plane is. It's kind of cool. Like I said, you really can't do anything with it, but there is some good stuff there. It does have some good loot. There's some feral ghouls wandering around, so it's pretty easy to get around. But I wouldn't worry about it overly much. And the stuff that you get, you're going to need to be level 10 in order to use it. But hey, I mean, you can keep it around and have it available, so that's pretty good. I don't know, Artemis. Some people, they just get their kicks off of doing that, so. But yeah, it's like I said, I'm kind of intrigued to see how this develops, and also as we get further afield from the the vault itself and Flatwoods, and we kind of get into the other areas again, because this game, the map is so large. I mean, it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4. So I'm really curious to kind of see what happens when we get really far afield with the from the vault area, and we get into those other areas. We're not even talking about what do you call it? We're not even talking about using nukes or anything yet, or changing the landscape, going to high level areas. This is just simply wandering out from the vault. And I think, like I said, as more and more people get into the play, as we have more opportunities to play the game, we're going to drift further and further away from the vault, which means that new players coming in are actually going to feel like that area is not really that well trod, and that there's actually quite a lot of opportunity for them to explore that space without competing a lot for resources, competing a lot for those things. So I really wouldn't worry about it overly much. If there's a little bit of a concern about just sort of it feeling crowded, because it certainly felt a little bit crowded tonight for Flatwoods. But certainly as the evening went on, as the beta went on, people began to go further and further afield. So that was kind of cool. So, like I said, on the server that I was on, we did have a couple people who became wanted murderers, which was kind of interesting. Again, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do anything about that, but I did see them. There was a bounty put on their heads, only 10 caps, but they were tromping around out there in the hinterlands, just attacking random players. It was kind of interesting. I was a little surprised at how they. I think they were just simply testing the mechanic more than they were really being true dicks, but it kind of felt like there was a little bit of dickishness involved there. So. If you decide to play without a team, you're going to run into trolls who come to your base and kill you first. So, like I said, as far as I was able to tell, you're not actually going to have anything at your base that people can take. I think they can use your stuff, unless you can lock it somehow. They're actually going to be able to come in and come into your spaces and use the items that are there, the workbenches and that kind of stuff. But I think they're not going to be able to destroy the stuff directly. But again, I don't know, because nobody did that with the stuff that I built. So I don't know if that's just simply because they left it alone, or because that's actually something that's not going to be available. I believe your stash boxes, though, are your stash boxes, and nobody else can touch it. They can't take the stuff out of it. So if you put all of your junk in there, then that's going to be safe. It won't be a problem trying to get through that. Keeping your stuff safe in that respect. Afraid of getting trolled. Yeah. The nice thing about it is that the system they have in place for griefing is actually pretty, I would say, inventive. And so what they do is that they have it set up so that if you are killed by another player, and that, again, that's level 5 is when that PvP opportunity only presents itself, then you're actually going to be, the only thing that they can do is take your junk. So you're not losing any caps, you're not losing any armor or weapons or any of that stuff. So really, a death in the game is not as debilitating as it could be, and I would say that the reward for killing somebody is actually a lot less as well. So I really wouldn't focus too much on the trolling aspect, like I said, or the griefing aspect. I think it's going to be a lot better than probably what you're thinking or what you're fearing. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a bit challenging, and people are not going to want to necessarily just kill you randomly. There's probably going to be opportunities where that could happen, but I really wouldn't worry about it overly much. And like I said, just most of the things that they have going on, typically there's not that big of a deal. So it's I feel like they came up with a pretty good system. And if someone does actually just beat on you until you die, then you have to engage in player versus player combat for there to be actual full damage happening. Otherwise, there's not. So if someone's attacking you, they're only doing a small fraction of the actual damage they could be doing, unless you actually decide to fight back and fire at them or attack them in return, at which point then you can engage in combat. And then at that point, everything is full damage. But if someone's like I said, attacking you, trying to provoke you into doing PvP, and nothing happens, then fine. I mean, then usually you're only taking a small amount of damage. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But if they do kill you, then they become a wanted murderer, and everybody else on the map knows where they are and can go after them and try to kill them in response. So, but yeah, exactly, Vox Drake. If you're, like I said, if anyone's, you can just opt to not fight back, and then it doesn't really matter. So, and Artemis, yeah, I understand what you're saying about the concern around having multiple people in the world and stuff. But again, I think in general, what my experience has been with it is that it's a lot more still familiar Fallout 4 like than it is, say, a whole different world, like an EverQuest or a Dark Age of Camelot or a World of Warcraft or any of those really like open world kind of things, or even Conan or any of that stuff. It's a lot more Fallout like with other people, as opposed to those games set in Fallout, if that makes sense. So I think from that perspective, you're actually probably going to be still a good experience for you, without being a real truly there's going to be very few negative experiences with other players. And in most of those cases, you just simply ignore the other person. If they want to trade with you and you don't want to trade, then don't trade. That's fine. Just move on. If you do want to trade, then fabulous. Then you guys can go through and trade and figure out what you want to do. If you are getting attacked by somebody, you can just choose to ignore them. And again, because it's just a small amount of damage, generally speaking, unless you are really, really close to death, or you're AFK, let's say, you walk away for a while, somebody just comes up and starts beating on you relentlessly, then you're probably not going to die from a random player versus player stuff. You're not just going to, that won't just happen. There's also two other things that are part of that. One is that, so your teammates, you don't have friendly fire. You're not going to damage your teammates, so you don't have to worry about accidentally shooting a teammate. And the second thing is that you're actually going to be able to set it up so that you have pacifist bullets, so that you don't, when you're attacking like a monster, let's say, and somebody gets in between you and that creature, you're not going to do any damage to that person. So you're not going to accidentally trigger a PvP encounter unless you really wanted to. So like I said, you can set it up so you have pacifist bullets, so you can't really do that. And then the other part is that you could, which will keep you really out of the PvP space, or if you're just partnering up with other friends, then no friendly fire, so you don't have to worry about that at all as well. So they were like, so you tested it, Vox? That's great. They lost 4 hit points. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's kind of funny that we don't have to that there's so little damage being dealt. But again, like I said, I mean, you are getting hit a little bit, and it could kill you potentially if you're low enough, or like I said, if you are in a situation where you're shooting at a creature or attacking a creature and somebody jumps in front of you, which I actually had happen a couple of times today. And then those people ended up attacking and then kind of going down from there. So it was a little unfortunate from that perspective, but overall, I think it worked out pretty well. So do you have any other concerns or questions about the experience? We don't, the question about when's the next one, we don't know yet. They are going to announce it on the Valve Twitter and on the Bethesda Games Twitter feeds. They're going to announce when the next beta is, but right now we don't know when that's going to be. My expectation is that what we're going to see over the next few weeks, as we get closer and closer to release, is they're going to do them more frequently, and they're going to make them for longer periods, so that they're going to be able to see how are these things working, how are they persisting. If we have people coming in and out all the time, how is the server handling that load, that kind of stuff. And so for right now, I think they're just trying to figure out, they just opened it up to everybody who pre-ordered it for Xbox. That's a huge number of people who just slammed their systems. So a lot of the next couple of days is going to be them trying to figure out, hey, how did this affect the systems that we have? How resilient were our servers? Did they crash and have to restart? Did we have memory issues? Did we have, they're trying to evaluate sort of all those parameters and all those variables about how the system performed with all of these players hitting it at the same time. So my guess is that we're going to see, like I said, we'll see more betas more frequently and for longer periods as we get closer to launch. But for right now, there is no second beta window that's been published yet. You absolutely can add me if you want to, Artemis. I'm just Gizmo DeVoe, so feel free. Pretty much everywhere. So YouTube, which apparently is full of haters, and Xbox, Twitch. Feel free to just add me. I think the only thing that I'm not Gizmo DeVoe on is Steam. So, but yeah. And Vox, I'm not sure. It might open tomorrow. It's hard to tell. It's again, I think they're going to want some time to really look at the data, the metrics that they collected, the monitoring that they had in place, and really kind of figure out, hey, look, did this work the way we expected it to? Was it better than expected or worse than expected? Did we have really good response times for things, or did we have issues? And then where are those things? And overall, how did our ecosystem perform? And do we need to make any changes to it before we do this again? So what can we learn? What can we learn from that? And then what kinds of things can we do better for next time? So that's really what they're going to be trying to figure out. And yeah, I appreciate that, Artemis. You have to, as they pointed out, I'm older than dirt. So, and I'm older than that guy's girlfriend's grandfather or father. I forget what it was. But whatever. So, yeah, it's just, you got to move on with your life. This is for me, I've been playing games for a long time, and I've been writing games for almost as long. So, I just love this stuff. I think it has a lot. There's a lot that is really interesting about it, and I'm really curious to see not just how the game plays, but also how it's crafted from a technical perspective. And I love seeing that and being able to engage with it. I mean, I've been playing games since the Commodore 64. I know that makes me older than dirt, but at the same time, I've seen the evolution of gaming from barely having 4-bit graphics all the way to having this, and some amazing stuff going on. So I'm excited. This is stuff that I love, and I appreciate that you're coming along for the ride. PvP and some events are a little broken from what you heard. People are saying loot was not working properly. Huh, okay. Yeah, I actually didn't have any problems with that. For what I think was going on, and I'm not positive because I didn't test this, but I actually had some situations where multiple people were attacking the same creature, and then I think we all got the loot from that creature. So I think in some cases, if you're doing damage to it, then you get the loot. If the other person is doing damage, I think there's multiple copies of it. So I think you get loot, I get loot, Fred gets loot. If we all attack the same thing, I think we all get to benefit from that. And I know that there's things like you're calling in the supply drops and stuff like that. All of that seems to be specific instances of those objects for everybody in the game. So when you show up and you go to get that, that's yours. Somebody else will go and get their stuff out of that same loot box. So I didn't, but I'm not positive. I'm like, let's say 95% sure that's the way it's working. We'll have to see. And yeah, Artemis would be great. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'm very open to tagging, to teaming up with people who are like-minded and interested in having fun. So I'm definitely not I'm not popular enough, obviously, as those guys pointed out, and I'm also not stuck up enough that I only play with friends or something like that. I play, if you guys want to play and I'm playing something, then just go ahead and invite me. Feel free. the enjoyment and the camaraderie and stuff is what I like about it. I do get competitive when I'm playing things like Call of Duty or PUBG or something like that, but when I'm just playing, you know, for fun, like, which is especially what this is, then I don't have any reservations about that. You're trying to get Vault Town 76. That's your goal. Yeah. I know that the radius for crafting for your camp is relatively small, so there's only so much you can do. And I don't know. You know, I was concerned that the camps couldn't overlap, which they still might not be able to. But it's also possible that because of how you can build your camps, that, you know, we can build up some pretty massive structures in the spaces that we have as a collective, you know, team rather than individually and stuff. So spell check sucks. Yes, it does. I agree. So, but yeah, I you know, like I said, I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun. There's some things that I kind of need to take a look at and sort of figure out what I want to do differently when I get back into the next beta. But overall, I think it was a really good first test of their system. Like I said, I had a couple of glitches where I got some freezes, and I did at times feel like it was there's a few too many people where I was. But again, where I was, you know, the main town right after you leave the vault. So I was sort of to be expected. But like I said, I really feel like as the beta progresses, then people begin to really wander away from Flatwoods and the vault, that we're going to see stuff going into distant areas. And so that whole space around the vault is really going to free up, and it's going to feel a lot less what do you call it? It's going to feel a lot less crowded than it does right now. And it's only crowded now because of how many people are actually coming in there. So, Night Ghost, yeah, sure, please, feel free. And thank you, Artemis, for that. Yeah, I played for a little bit, and I really appreciate the sub. That's awesome. Much appreciated the follow. That's going to be really help. And yeah, it's unfortunate you joined when the beta closed. But as long as you have the pre-order and as long as you've got the beta installed, as soon as the next beta comes available, you'll get notification on that. So, and hey, thank you, Night Ghost, for that follow. Much appreciated. It means a lot. So, like I said, if there's anything that you guys want to see or anything that you guys want to specifically ask about, like, hey, you know, what do you want to do next time? And Artemis, thank you so much for that follow too. You know, just let me know. You know, drop me a line, you know, drop me a tweet, or you send me a message on Xbox or whatever, and you know, I'll take a look at it. The next time you have a beta, I'll specifically look at those things. I do want to I want to stream as much as I can, but I also want to be testing some stuff that is going to be harder to stream because I need to kind of validate with another person, and so there's going to be some team chat and stuff, and that's going to be a little harder to do. So I do want to find out what I can do to kind of make sure that we're getting the answers to the questions that I've got, because right now there's just some things that I'm not sure how they're going to work out. And you know, I don't know what happens if me and my teammate part ways. If we leave the party, what's going to happen with that? What happens if I leave when I leave the game, does my stuff stay? If we both leave the game and log back in, does it rebuild it? You know, can he build stuff or she build stuff in my camp area? Other than, I mean, can they have their own camp that overlaps my camp? I'm not sure. I didn't check that out. So, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Vox Drake. Appreciate it. And yes, sounds good, Artemis. Yeah, like I said, just send me an invite, and I'm pretty open, like I said, to exploring some stuff. And look, hey, look, Night Ghost just added me as a friend. Awesome. So I will go ahead and accept that, and we'll be able to play. That'd be great. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, But yeah, I like I said, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the gameplay progresses. And the thing that I know that they're looking at when they said this on the Twitter feed was, look, we're just starting this journey. The beta is the beginning of the journey, but it's not. Once we get to release for the software, the November 14th, that's okay. That's the okay. Now we can really begin to build the world more. So they're just trying to get sort of this base world built for us. And then they're planning on building an awful lot of other stuff after that, to continue to add to the world and continue to make it exciting and fresh and interesting for us. The events that they had, the community events they had, I thought was very interesting. And then I think the other piece is, adding in more side quests, tweaking some of the things that are going on. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. There's an awful lot of content in this game already, and they are committed to adding and continuing to add to it more and more and more. So I think from my perspective, that's just going to be an exciting element to this whole thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, and thanks, Artemis, appreciate it. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you again for the follow. And Night Ghost, am I getting Red Dead Redemption? I'm not planning on getting that. The reason I'm not planning on getting it is not because I don't like the idea, or that, well, because I live in Colorado, I see cowboys all the time and I don't want to play cowboy. It's because I don't have the time for it, honestly. I've still got games on PS4 that I haven't even touched. Attack on Titan and Godzilla and the Spider-Man game. I haven't even touched those yet. I'm still trying to play PUBG and Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and BattleTech, which I do every Monday night. I play BattleTech as Mech Warrior Monday. I'm playing the campaign through right now. And now Fallout 76. I'm just like, there's not enough hours in the day, man. I don't have to, I can't hang out all day playing games. I wish I could. I do have a job. I do have responsibilities that require that I'm not able to do this 24/7. So unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck on what I can do, and I hear an awful lot of good things about Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it is a strong contender, if not the leading contender for Game of the Year. But I also think that there's an awful lot of stuff around. Like I said, that game, I did not play the original, but some of the things that I know were in the original game were things that I was not excited about exploring from a play perspective. And so I think, other than being able to ride a horse around, which I could do in Skyrim, there's just some of the things that were there. I was like, maybe not. And so I kind of punted on Red Dead Redemption, the first one, and so I'm going to kind of punt on number 2. If things change and my time frees up and I decide, you know what, I'm done with first-person shooters for a while, maybe I'll pick it up. But I think for right now, I'm probably going to stick with what I've got, which is still a pretty substantial chunk of games I've got to work through. So I hope that answers your question. But like I said, I heard really good things about it. Like I said, as far as I know, it is probably up to be the leading contender for Game of the Year. So it's if you're going to play it, I mean, I would recommend it strongly. I mean, there's a lot of people who are going to be having a lot of fun doing it, but I think it's also just kind of one of those things where it's there's certain people that gameplay is very appropriate for some folks, and for other folks maybe not so much. But I'm curious to kind of see how that plays out. I don't think we're going to have the same level of flexibility that you had in, say, Fallout 3 or in New Vegas with Fallout 76. I think it's going to be a lot more of the Fallout 4 style of, you've sort of got a main path, and you really can't be a raider because there aren't settlers to go rob, and there aren't people to, merchants to kill and loot. So the only people you could really raid would be other players. And then again, raiding them is not really that big of a deal because all you can get is their junk. You can't get their caps. You can't get their stuff. So, sort of the desire to do that kind of, let's say, morally ambiguous path for the game is I'm not sure it's going to be there. So I think that's, for some people, they like that about Fallout 3 in New Vegas. They like that about Red Dead Redemption. And I think that, like I said, there's some styles of play that are well suited for those kinds of things. I think this one in particular is not going to end up. Fallout 76 will not be that style of play. So hope that helps. So, any questions or concerns that you guys had if you guys played it tonight? You know, was there something that concerned you, like, holy crap, I didn't believe they did this, or something like that? It's middle edition, worth buying, even though you can unlock everything in the middle edition. Oh no, Vox Drake. Okay, I'll look for you when I get a chance. Is the edition for? So I got the Tricentennial edition. It had some extra stuff, mostly just additional cosmetic content in the game, but it also gave me access, because I bought the physical version. It gave me access to the beta, so that's why I got it. That was an interesting decision on Bethesda's part to allow for that. But I think that in general. So you will be probably able to get everything that comes in that edition, but I think that, again, if you're looking at it from the, and it may be too late now, you know, if you pre-order it, you get access to beta, and so there, at this point I probably would hold off and just kind of see whether you want to. That's a tough choice to make. I'm not sure that I would say, you know, absolutely you should do that, but it's. When I first bought the game, I was like, yes, this is going to be great. And then I was like, and then as time went on and I heard more and more about it, I was like, I don't know. And then E3 happened and I was like, ooh, I really don't know. And then, you know, QuakeCon, and I was like, oh, dude, I don't know, Todd Howard, you're making this really hard to figure it out. And a lot of it, I think, was just that they didn't know how to describe the game. They were like, well, it's like Fallout, but, you know, with people. And it's like, well, that's exactly what it is. But they were trying really hard to explain what it wasn't. And people kept trying to put word, well, is it like Rust? Is it like this? Is it like that? Is it like no, it's not like any of those. And having played it, I can understand why it was kind of hard. But I think, in essence, what you're just going to say is, like, look, it's like Fallout 4. It's bigger. It's in West Virginia. And you have other people that are playing alongside you. And not a lot of people. Just some people. So I think that the nice thing about this is that it's not like a massively multiplayer game. There's not hundreds of people. There's a couple of dozen people playing. So I think from that perspective, we have a lot of potential to really get some good gameplay coming out of it. And hey, Music DJW, thank you so much for that follow. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It really means a lot. But I think that the what do you call it? Like I said, a lot of the gameplay and a lot of the interplay between the characters is actually going to be with the other players, changing the world up or building camps and doing things. I think that's what's going to be the interesting part, and that's the part that Bethesda really can't figure out how to explain clearly. It's that we can build all these side quests and we can build all these main quests and we can do these things, but in essence, a lot of the gameplay is going to come from interacting with other people. And what does that look like? How does that play? My wife plays a game where she is where the game is really simple, but the interaction with the other players is what makes the game engaging and entertaining and exciting and frustrating and everything else. But the game itself is just almost a grind. But it's the other people who make it interesting. And I think that's what Fallout 76 is going to be. It's going to be that the game itself has components and elements that we're going to be able to explore. But in general, it's going to be how we're interfacing with the other people on the servers that's really going to determine how we are actually, enjoying the game or not. So, all right, I will, like I said, I will definitely find you, Vox Drake. And you're gonna call a town called 76. Yeah. I'll be intrigued to see how that goes. I mean, it sounds like you actually found quite a lot of construction stuff, which is great. I found a couple of recipes. I found one about how was that, like deerskin soup or something, or preparing deerskin or something. That was kind of weird. Like I said, I a whole bunch of other just basic things. Tea and soup and that kind of and then the basic things like grilled rad roach and rad stag and ribeye and all that stuff. So just some real basic stuff like that, but nothing major. And then even for building materials, like I said, the best thing I found personally, I think, was the metal bed. So at least get the mattress up off the floor. So that was, I was like, yes, exactly. Finally, it's exciting. So I was happy to hear that. So, and a good building spot. Yeah, I built right outside of Flatwoods. Yeah, I just didn't want to go that far to build, and so I just kind of set up right there and I built I built a cottage in essence, a little hut. And then, like I said, the guy that I was playing with ended up adding a whole bunch of stuff to it. He built this entire huge structure next to mine, and with all these ramps and stuff. And I was like, wow, okay, that's a little over the top for me here. So, but let's go ahead and bring Pikachu back, and we'll put Volt Boy Chew away. Yeah, so like I said, I enjoyed it tonight. I think there's an awful lot of things that we've got to do still, and I'm hopeful that we're going to get a chance to really explore some of these things. The fact that though some of the resources were not quite as difficult to access as I thought they were, like I said, the fact that you could actually get wood very easily, I didn't realize it until I stumbled upon it. I was like, holy crap, I missed this the first time when I was playing the stress test. This is so much better. So now I've got tons of wood, and I found a chemistry station finally, so I can make gunpowder to make ammunition when I finally get that. So all the stuff, it's like, okay, great. Now I feel like I'm making some progress. So, and I haven't even really scratched the surface on the main quests or even any of the side quests. So from that perspective, I've still got an awful lot left to do, and a lot of things, left to gain and explore just in that first little area, let alone the rest of the world. There's so much more out there that I think is going to be really interesting, and there's going to be stuff like finding that biplane. Just like, hanging out there in the hinterland somewhere, there's a little farm that has a biplane on it. Wow, okay, that's kind of interesting, So I'm excited to see what else that they've got out there, and what other things we can uncover during our explorations. I'm really curious to see when we get into it a little bit what kinds of photos people are taking, what kinds of things they're finding in the world. And so that's where I want to see. I want to really look at the Twitter feeds and stuff and Instagrams, and so really see who's finding what and how that's going. And yes, music, it was only 4 hours tonight. So they did it from 7 to 11 Eastern time. We don't have a date or time for the next beta test yet. I was saying earlier, I think what's going to end up happening is that they're going to want to look at all of the monitoring they had in place for everybody hitting their servers and kind of see, how did we perform? Did we meet our expectations? Did we exceed our expectations, or did we fall short? And then what adjustments do we want to make based on that input? They went from stress test was, I mean, if I had to guess, I'd have to guess it was a few thousand people hitting a small number of servers. This was very likely tens of thousands of people hitting them at the same time. So a whole different level of demand and load on their systems. So as a result, I think what we're looking at is probably they're going to have, like I said, a couple of days would be my guess of evaluating how they performed. Where did they have drops? Where were their network connection issues? Where did we have load issues? So we need to stand up more servers there. All that stuff I think is we're going to come out of that over the next few days, and then they'll establish, once they understand sort of where they are and they know where they want to go, they'll establish here's when the next beta is going to be. So, ton of loot, materials, and exotic armor. I forgot about that. Yeah, like I said, I mean, like I said, I went to that place, that farm, and where that biplane is, and I found armor I can't even use yet. So I have to wait until I get to level 10 before I can use that armor, which I can kind of understand, but also it kind of sucks. You certainly don't want people suddenly, just getting really great stuff and they walk in the door because their friend has been playing for, 3 months and just dumps off, in essence, here's your full plate, man, I'll have fun, right? But that place right there where that biplane is, they actually have some good metal armor right there. Chest plates, legs, and arms and stuff. So you can get some good metal armor there, and but it has to be level 10 in order to use it. So, and yes, only 4 hours tonight. So it will be back. Let's see. Today's Tuesday. It might be back. It might be back by Friday. That's a possibility. I would say that that's certainly something that would be a potential for it to be actually back. They might actually do the next beta though over the weekend. That's depending on again how some of these things go. It's certainly possible that what do you call it? That this whole thing might really have met their expectations, at which point they are going to be really happy that they did what they did, and they'll just roll it out and do more beta slots later on. And no, it's no worry music. Don't worry about it. And like I said, I think what's going to happen is that it's eventually going to expand out as we get closer to launch. I think they're going to do them more frequently and do longer periods, so that the people who are actually playing beta are going to be playing it more like just, okay, I'm starting up my Xbox and I'm just going to start playing. I don't have to worry about, it's like, well, is the window active or not? Because the window's always active, right? I'm always going to be able to play the beta because it's always on. So I think as we sort of get closer and closer, those windows will get longer. I don't know that they'll have it up 24/7, but I think that they'll have it up for 8 hours at a time, or 6 hours at a time, then 8 hours at a time. And by the time we get to, middle of November, it may actually be up, for a couple of days at a time kind of thing. So, but I suspect that it's going to be more like that than not like that. So Vox, you were resistant against ghouls to 20% less DPS and 10 rads. That's nice. Yeah, I didn't have anything like that. The armor that I was able to craft was pretty basic stuff, and I didn't have anything that was like that. My perks, I got, God, what was it? It was like Bounty Hunter, which gave me twice, a 40% chance to get twice the meat from an animal, which I thought, while I'm starting off and getting food and having it would be really a good idea to have more food. So I thought, let's do that. And then I actually leveled that one up. I've got a level 2 bounty hunter. So it's actually, I think it's a better chance to double the meat. And then I also got lead belly for endurance. So those are the two attributes that I leveled up. Now, one thing that I thought was that they said that there was going to be, every level you were going to get a new attribute point and you were going to get a new perk. But I did not experience that at all. What I saw was that when I got to level 4, I got a perk card pack, a booster pack. And I only got to level up on even levels. So only level 2 and level 4. So I mean, level 2 and level 4 are the only two levels that I get to level up and increase my abilities for my special abilities. So I don't know, but I'm not sure. Was that your experience, Fox Drake? I'm not sure. Like I said, for me, I was surprised because, and the same thing happened during the stress test, and I was trying to figure out, did I level up? Did I just miss leveling up? Because when I play, Fallout or Skyrim or whatever, oftentimes I'll level up and I'll completely forget to do it. And so it's like, oh yeah, I gotta level up. Crap, you're right. All right, fine, let's go level up. But you know, I was kind of looking for it a little bit more this time, and I thought when I got to level 2 and level 4 is when I was able to expend points on my attributes. So that's going to be really interesting, because what they were saying in interviews after E3 was that you're only going to be able to get points up to level 50. So if you're only getting points every 2 levels, and level 50 is where you're going to cap out, that's only 25 points. And there are 7 attributes in special, and the top level on any of them is 15. So, I mean, even if you were to get 1 point per level up to 50, you still wouldn't max out all of your stats. So I don't know. And I don't, like I said, I'm not sure how that was working, but it felt like it was either a changed mechanic from what they had talked about during E3 and QuakeCon and all that, or that it was not working as designed. So I'm not sure what it was, but it definitely felt like I only got to expend attribute points on even numbered levels. So, but I'm glad that I wasn't alone in noticing that. So. Alrighty, well, I think actually what we're going to do is, we've been doing this for just over about an hour now, but, I just wanted to sort of finish off with what was happening with the beta, and then kind of wrap up my thoughts, having just finished playing it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I really appreciate you guys coming along. Hope you had a good time. Hope you answered questions that you had. If you have any other questions, like I said, just message me on Xbox or tweet at me or whatever. And the next time we get a chance to play beta, I will take a look at what we can do for you. So, you got 3 in endurance and 1 in luck. Made skill luck, yeah. Yes, I got 1 in. I got 1 point in perception and 1 in endurance, and that's what I got. And I was level 5 at the end of the day. So. I'll go back and see, but I tried to actually go back and level up, and just bringing up my perk chart didn't say that I was able to do anything for leveling up, so I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, again, thank you all for coming along. I really appreciate it. Hope you had a great evening. Look at the Fallout Twitter feed for when they're going to do the next beta. Again, I think it's going to be a short one, this next one, and then as they get better and they feel more comfortable, they'll begin making them a little bit longer and a little bit more frequent. So, have a great evening, and we will talk to you guys all later. And Pikachu and I say cheers, and we'll see you on the other side.